Hello, it's Faulty here, and it's been so long since I made a video that we've not only been through the coronavirus, but we've also welcomed in the PlayStation 5, with one being considerably easier to pick up than the other. If you happen to be one of those people that are praying to a god you only ever pray to on special occasions when it's something you really want, that you will happen upon that sacred 30-second window when the next biannual batch of PS5s go on sale, then in the meantime I have something equally as impressive. The PS3. Why the PS3? Well, at the end of March, Sony announced they were closing the PS3 store, which a couple of weeks later they hastily withdrew, after corporate suits were surprised and startled that gamers actually cared about games more than 1 year old, and aren't either Call of Duty, Fortnite, or the latest yearly EA Sports game con. This announcement brought home the danger of digital only, and knowing we had been just a few months away from someone flicking a switch and a generation of games being lost forever sent out huge shockwaves. They may have reversed the decision, but for how long? Since then, it's made me look at my PS3 and think about which games I'd like to try that I never got round to. I've narrowed it down to 8, and my aim is to make a video of each one, discussing any notable trophies that stand in the way of the platinum. These games many say are must-play titles, classics, even cult classics, but also ones you may never have heard of, as they didn't get the recognition they deserve. The first game on the list is Puppeteer. Unfortunately, you can still buy this on the store for $10.99, and I say fortunately because if you want to try and buy a second-hand copy, you're looking at around £60. But what is it? In short, it's a side-scrolling platformer. You control a wooden puppet called Kutaro, who wasn't always a piece of wood. He was once a child whose spirit, along with others, was taken from Earth while they slept and trapped in a castle by a massive bear. I don't know why. Not only that, but Kutaro gets his head pulled off right at the beginning by the insane Fozzie, and to compensate, spends most of the game finding various new ones. You can carry up to 3 heads, which work like lives. You get hit, it falls off, and you have a certain amount of time to pick it back up. If you don't, it's lost, and if you lose all 3 heads, you get sent back to the last checkpoint. Along the way, he fights a lot of things with the aid of an oversized pair of scissors called the Calibers, ultimately to acquire parts of a moonstone which, when put back together, will send him back to Earth. He also wants to try and get his real head back, as opposed to keeping one that looks like an elephant. There's a total of 7 acts, with each act containing 3 levels, or curtains as they're called. Through each act you'll acquire new abilities: hook, cut, slam and bomb. While not exceptional, it is a good platformer, but what sets this game apart and why many consider this a must-play title is in the presentation, with the action taking place on stage as a theatrical performance in front of an audience that clap and cheer. The presentation they have nailed, with vibrant colours, music and dialogue that really do feel as though they are being delivered on stage. Superb attention to detail and theatrical nuances you can't help but admire. Without doubt, this is a unique title. The bosses are fun, with a standout moment for me being the General Dragon boss at the end of Act 6. Not only is it a cool fight, I absolutely love the music.
Here.
Hey! Are you a dragon or a fraidy cat? After him, Kitaro!
Kutaro sliced right through Dragon's thunderclouds as he raced across the ether.
The game only has one difficulty setting and at times poses a few challenges, but it never feels unfair, and playing the game through to the end is an enjoyable journey and not too taxing. The majority of the trophies you will earn just playing through the game and finishing it. Then there are some level specific ones which aren't too difficult to earn, except for one that gave me a bit of trouble called A Speech for Sore Ears. This is where you have to listen to a stork called Mr. Pink who has verbal diarrhea. In the guide it tells you to stop doing what you're doing and listen to him complete the dialogue. But that's not entirely true. You need to stay with him so you can get to see the final animation. The trophy should pop here when the narrator takes over from Mr. Pink. If it hasn't, then you'll need to restart the level. Then all that's left are the collectibles, and that's where you join me, because right now I'm sick of them. Absolutely sick to the back teeth of them. If you've ever looked at the trophy list on PSN profiles, you're probably wondering why it's an ultra rare platinum, with ultra rare trophies for the collectibles when there's a complete guide on how to get them all. The answer is 1. There's a lot, and 2. It isn't that straightforward. I've been through this game 4 times now in various orders, ticking off one collectible after another, but I'm still left with one trophy called the Wooden Shoe Drops. One trophy standing between me and the platinum, and it's really bugging me now. Before I get to that, I'll just talk a little bit about the collectibles. They fall under 4 categories. First, you have the nice collectibles, the heads. Here in the menu it will list the heads you've obtained, which you need for Head Hoarder. If you have one missing, you can identify what it is and go and get it. It also lists here whether you have performed the necessary action for each head. When you've done it, it adds a little symbol in the top corner. You need to do them all for now that's using your head, her. These are a pain, to be honest, as there is only one specific place in the game to perform the action for each head, so you have to have that head with you when you get there. However, if you have completed the game already, you will have access to Kutero's head. This is like a skeleton key, so once you've picked it up, try not to lose it. You can perform any head action in the game with it and it still counts. As far as keeping track of collectibles, so far so good. The second type of collectible are the souls you pick up from defeating enemies. This is shown at the beginning of the act, how many you have and how many you need, so you can go through the level until you manage to collect them all. Once you have every soul, you will get the trophy Soul Searcherist. The third type is more annoying. These are the 100 sparkles. There is no tracker in game of what you have collected, but you can see when you've picked them up, so you can then compare them to the guide and make a note as you go along. There's 39 in total, and once you have them all, you unlock Sparktacular. And then there's number 4, or the Wooden Shoe Drops. For this, there's 3 wooden children named Winkin, Blinkin and Nod that hide in parts of the castle. You have to uncover where they are hiding and then click on them. This causes an animation which has to complete before you move on, but it isn't immediately obvious if the animation is completed, and sometimes you have to interact with them more than once. And here's the kicker. When you get to the end of the game and the trophy hasn't popped, which one have you missed? That's right, not a clue. And what does that mean? Going back to the beginning of the game and going through it all again. So for your viewing pleasure and my own sanity, I'm going through the game again from start to finish, performing every animation until that damn trophy pops. I know it will, somewhere. If you've been stuck on this trophy, then maybe you can use this as a guide. If I get to the end and it still hasn't popped, then, well, what a waste of time this has been for everybody. There's 31 of them, so let's crack on. A quick note before we start, in the bottom left hand corner here is some swirly yellow stuff. If you find a collectible, make sure you've gone through this before quitting, as it's essentially a save point. If you don't, the collectible won't register. Right, here we go. Act 1, Curtain 1. After the screen where the fork knocks your head off, you'll find a teacup with sugar cubes in. Move yin yang over it and press R2, and off the puppet pops. The audience love it. Onto the room with the sandwich. Have a butcher's at the pile of flour and you've found another, with the audience doubled up again watching the frightened child flee. On the very next screen, click on the cover at the bottom. The crowd are particularly taken by this one, as the child desperately tries to close the cover before he's spotted. We move a little further ahead now, and as we climb the tower you'll find a shield. This one you need to click on twice to uncover the terrified child. The crowd again are beside themselves. Sick in the head. just here are some barrels. Here he is, screaming, while they laugh. Keep going up, and after the massive painting is a set of armour. Examine it and out pops the puppet child. He jumps into another hole, then click on that. Oh, whoa, that's that's it. Platinum. Sure I did that last time. Sure I did. Anyway, I'll check that later. Moving on. As you get to this screen, you'll see a hook at the top. Give it a yank. Here's Mrs. Potts with the 3 scared puppets trying to sneak past. The last thing they want to happen is for someone to give them away. So that's where you come in. Laughter.
Thought you could pull a fast one on Esma Potts. Get back here!
We're now on to Act 1, Curtain 3 and wooden shoe number 8. Right at the start of the level, there's a broken wall to the left of the shield. Give it a click.
Indeed, for within it still dwelled the power of the moon goddess's night, he whose valiant struggles ended in tragedy.
On to the very next screen, and the audience briefly show an act of humanity, but then whoop with joy after the decapitation.
Winken, Blinken and Nod here tried to make a break for it, and got broken for their trouble. The Moonbear King's overblown guillotine was waiting to reduce all such traitors to scrap.
Once you've beaten the guillotine, click on the wall and it will expose a hook which you then need to pull for the next animation. Now for the tiger fight, and on the left hand side of the screen are the puppets locked in a cage. Click on them twice to free them.
See that fang tiger is flashing? That's a piece of the Mule Stone.
Act 2, Curtain 1 and wooden shoe number 11. Our companion Yin Yang has been replaced by the irritating Picarina, and shortly after the giant panda, in the background on a tall rock, sits a puppet, calmly and quietly fishing. As always, click on him to darken his day.
Who took none too kindly to trespassers.
Hey, you don't suppose the rat is hiding out upriver, at the top of the waterfall?
Act 2, Curtain 2, wooden shoe number 12. Behind the grubs you just killed, in the background, you will see a puppet trying to reach his friend. Give him a click and it will fling him over to help.
But the rat's toxin had triggered a most unpleasant metamorphosis, and the few Kapagairu who dodged that bullet now faced extinction at the hands of their psychopathic relative.
Wooden shoe number 13. When you get to the huge squirrel, you will need the slam ability. Use it on the ball mark and you will annoy the squirrel so it moves elsewhere. Left behind is a puppet you need to click on. As always, don't move on until the animation is finished. Act 2, Curtain 3, wooden shoe number 14. As the curtain starts, don't do anything except keep your eye on the background, because soon enough you'll see a puppet with his head buried in the sand. Give him a click on the iris. On the second springboard you'll be thrown into rings of smoke. Cut up to the sarcophagus head and then click on it. When you land, use the hook claw and then cut along the seam. This not only nets you 100 sparkle but also frees a puppet. Act 3, Curtain 1. Wooden shoe number 16. Right at the start, after you free the captain, examine the two moving piles of coins in the background.
He knew he must be trapped inside a ship.
barnacles I was expecting.
In the very next room, body slam the crate in the middle. A couple of screens later is a room with the cannon. Unscrew the hook, cut over the cannon and slam the crate.
We must be right under the main deck.
On the deck of the main ship you will cut up and over some parrot feathers. As you land there will be two puppets struggling to keep a small boat afloat. Click on it to help them capsize. After climbing the first flag, you will be next to a parrot. On the right is a mast where there's a puppet with a telescope. Give it a click, spin him around and watch him escape from another mesh you've put him in.
So let's buckle up and buckle down.
Foul mouth! Foul mouth!
At the top of the second mast section is a lifeboat with two puppets playing quite contently. Well, we'll have none of that. Click on it to make it fall and watch them desperately clamber away.
I prefer fish. Have a kitten. Oh, thank you.
At the top of the third mast section, Piccarina will mention the bling on the mast. Click on the bling to loosen it and then watch a puppet narrowly avoid falling to his death thanks to his friend, while the audience roar and give their thigh an approving slap.
Wonder if fake. You can't trick a lady like me.
Act 3, Curtain 2. Wooden shoe number 23. After being chased by a large fish with teeth and a decorative light bulb, you will come to a boat and a mast that falls down. On the next platform will be a grub. Kill it and then body slam the section of deck with a bull head. Once you've fallen to the bottom, investigate the items in the background to the left to reveal the puppet. Act 3, Curtain 3 and wooden shoe number 24. On the screen where you have to cut the smoke in sequence, ignore it and instead examine the vent you are standing on 3 times in quick succession. A puppet will pop out and then pop back.
Engine pressure rising.
Number 25. The next part is where you throw a bomb into a spinning sphere in the moon base. This is part of the game that you have to do to progress. You just need to remember to click on the puppet when he appears.
How did those klutzes do it?
They didn't. You see, the Moonbear King had another general.
Act 4, Curtain 1. Wooden shoe number 26. As you get to the top of the 4th cliff segment, click on the vulture to make him angry, and to vent it on the puppet who was minding his own business.
Hey! Where's he going?
Act 4, Curtain 2, number 27. After doing a lot of snipping and jumping, you will land on a barrel load of barrels. Click on the yellow barrel on the left. I'm not sure why the audience are laughing because this time no one is close to death.
What?
Couturier was frustrated, and Piccarina's insensitive remarks were only making him angrier.
Act 5, Curtain 2, number 28. You'll come across some guillotines not long after the huge pumpkin starts barfing. This puppet you can't actually see, at least I can't, but that's because I'm old. Just click around the moon sparkles and something will bounce out that will turn into more moon sparkles.
Oh no! The ground's collapsing!
Act 5, Curtain 3, number 29. This one's annoying because first you need to have the nod or Couturier head and perform the head's action to make the roulette wheel appear. Then it's down to the spin of the wheel. If it lands on the skull and crossbones you won't see Nod the puppet. However, if it lands on either of the other two, he'll appear, pull his own head off, and all will be well with the world.
Oh, I think he's a zombie!
After rewarding Kotaro, the undead puppet returned to the ground.
Number 30. After you destroy the 3 floors of castle, you have the option to go right or left. The obvious option is to cut right, but if you go left you will come to a platform where you need to use the blinking head. This will make a robot appear. Move the heart across and the claw, not the drill, as that is bad. You'll be picked up and taken across to the entrance of the castle.
Sorry, I'll help. Hey, where are you going? Don't we get a bonus stage? Oh, he brought us to the entrance. Thanks, kiddo.
Act 7, Curtain 3, number 31, and finally, the boss, Fozzie. As soon as you start the second stage of the fight, click on the golden belly button and it will expose all 3 puppets. Now continue with the fight. As you reach the third stage, the 3 puppets appear and strike a pose before getting blown away. The trophy should now pop, which of course it didn't for me.
Well, you give up?
No, not until I devour everything!
I hope this guide has helped in some way if you were stuck. If it didn't and it still hasn't popped, did you click the pipe and hang out the rat? If you did then, well, what a rotten bit of luck. So that's me done. Cheers. I know I did this last time, I know I did. Why didn't it work? Oh, I didn't, did I? Knob.